Welcome back, everybody, to the Quickstart Guide for Recovery from Addiction and Co-Occurring Disorders. I'm your host, Dr. Dawn-Elise Snipes. In this section, we're going to continue to talk about locus of control. If you remember in the last segment, we talked about what locus of control is. That is, it's kind of where you feel your power is from. If you feel like you can control everything, then you've got an extremely internal locus of control. If you feel like you can't control anything at all, that fate determines everything, then you've got an extremely external locus of control. And either end of the spectrum can cause a lot of stress and distress. Let's talk a little bit about the 12 steps and locus of control. The first step in the 12 steps says we admitted we were powerless over our addiction and mental health issues, that our lives had become unmanageable. Well, that sounds on its face like a very external locus of control, admitting powerlessness. However, it's important to remember that there are certain things about your recovery and living a recovery lifestyle that you can control. You may not ever be able to socially drink again. You may not be able to 100% prevent another episode of major depressive disorder. But there are a lot of things that you can do to prevent relapse. You can avoid going to places that you are at risk for drinking, for example. You can address things that maybe could contribute to you feeling depressed. You can live a healthy lifestyle so your body is functioning as well as it can and making neurotransmitters so you can feel happy and healthy as efficiently as possible. So there are certain things that you can do, but there are certain things that you have no control of. And it's important to recognize in your recovery those things that you can and cannot control. This should start sounding like the Serenity Prayer. Remember, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The second step says we came to believe that a plan for a rich and meaningful life could provide us with good, orderly direction. Now, obviously, that is paraphrased from the original 12 steps because there are some people that have issues with the concept of God. So what I usually try to help people see, if they are more secular in nature, is that what we're really looking for is good, orderly direction, purposeful action, thinking before you act and saying, is this, whatever I want to do right now, really what is going to benefit me in the long run? Yeah, it may feel really good right now, but in the long run, is it helping me move toward my goals or is it moving me away from my goals? We made a decision to use that good, orderly direction to live our lives purposefully and use our energy to move toward that rich and meaningful life and have that recovery-centered belief in our life. Every time we make a decision, we think to ourselves, is this going to help me toward my recovery or is this going to work against me? So spend about 30 minutes thinking about what parts of your addiction or mental illness or both are out of your control and what parts are in your control. And this is something that we need to think about in terms of relapse prevention planning. Those things that are in your control, you need to take control of. You need to make sure that you are living healthfully. You need to make sure that you are practicing mindfulness to stay aware of how you're feeling and what your needs are. You need to make sure that you're minimizing your exposure to triggers, for example. The next thing I want you to think about is how good, orderly direction provides you with some sense of control and or acceptance. Now, that good, orderly direction, that long-term goal, looking out, for that rich and meaningful life, how does that provide you with some sense of control? And I'll give you a hint. When you are working on a plan, when you are moving toward that goal, as you accomplish each step, you're going to feel more empowered. It's going to provide you a sense of control because you can say to yourself, yes, I was faced with decisions and I made the right decision. Yes, I did that. And that can help you move towards where you want to go. It also helps you recognize with good orderly direction, you are looking at things and asking yourself, is this within or outside of my control? It is really encouraging you to be mindful and purposeful in what you do every day. Remember the Serenity Prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. Too often, we forget those last 3 lines, and it is so important. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. That means being mindful instead of thinking about what you're worried about tomorrow or what you regret from yesterday. Living in the moment and saying, what can I do to be the best me that I can be right now? What can I look around and enjoy at this moment? Maybe things aren't going great. You're having a bad day at work. All right, so that is unfortunate. What can you turn your mind to enjoy at the moment? Recognizing that generally everything in your life hasn't gone to crap at one particular moment. So there's something you can enjoy. And maybe that just means going on YouTube and finding a funny video to watch so you can enjoy that moment and recognize that, okay, hardship, it's going to happen. Stress, it's going to happen. Crap is going to happen. However, I can get through it. And that is that good orderly direction. When life throws you a curveball, figuring out, stopping and thinking before just running or ducking, thinking, what is it that I can do to hit this sucker out of the park? Spend about 20 minutes thinking about how the Serenity Prayer supports a balanced locus of control, not too internal, not too external. The 12 steps in the Serenity Prayer provide you tools to help balance your locus of control. That's really important, so you're not feeling overly responsible or overly helpless. Events that happen may or may not be within your control. What people do may or may not be within your control. Your initial emotional reaction is definitely not within your control. That is an automatic sort of thing. How you choose to handle those feelings, how you choose to react to those feelings and situations is within your control.